Hello, Mr. Manor. My name is Cecile Morris, and tonight I'll be doing your musculoskeletal examination. At any point during this examination, if you have any questions for me, please feel free to stop me. Okay, first, tonight we're going to begin with examination of your hands. Okay, so if you hold your hands up for me, we're just going to inspect, looking for any nodules, swelling, redness, or any deformity of the hand. I'm also looking for symmetry. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to palpate your hand. Okay. So I'm going to start from the distal to the proximal um, part of your hand. And what I'm palpating is the metacarpal phalanges and also the phalanges of the fingers. Okay?
Okay.
Checking for any redness, swelling, or tenderness. Okay? Again, from distal to proximal, metacarpal phalanges and the phalanges, checking for any pain, swelling, tenderness. The next thing we're going to do, Mr. Manor, is we're going to go ahead and do some range of motion of your hand. So I'm going to ask you to make a fist and then place your thumb in your palm and then turn your hand over so I can see it. And the other way, see your knuckles up. So I can see. What I'm looking for is symmetry. I'm looking at the movement of both hands, and I'm looking at they're looking to make sure that you're not having any difficulty holding that position. I'm gonna ask you to undo your hand, Mr. Manor, and I'm gonna ask you to make a fist again. But this time I want you to take your thumbs out and then put them around on your knuckles and see how far around on your knuckles you can get those fingers. Good. So the next thing we're going to do, Mr. Manor, is some adduction and abduction of the fingers. So I'm going to have you spread your finger, which is abduction of the fingers, and I'm going to ask you to bring your fingers together, which is abduction of the fingers. Again, I'm looking for symmetry, making sure that you're able to perform the same movement on both sides. I'm going to ask you to also go ahead and um, flex your fingers downward, Mr. Manor, and then flex them upward for me. Next we're gonna move on to your wrists. Again, I'm looking for symmetry. I'm looking to make sure you have no nodules. I'm looking to make sure you have no redness, no swelling, or no obvious trauma to the area. Okay? Then I'm going to go ahead and palpate. I'm palpating on your wrist, on the radial and the ulnar, making sure you're not having any pain or tenderness to the area. I'm also going to do it on the opposite side. I'm going to palpate on the wrist, on the ulnar, on the radius, making sure you're having no pain or tenderness. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do some range of motion. Okay. So I'm going to have you flex down on your wrist for me, Mr. Manor, and then I'm going to have you flex up. I'm also going to have you do some abduction of the wrist. So I'm going to have you bring it closer to your body this way and then out. Now I do the same on this side and then out. There's a couple of specialty tests I want to do on your hands. Okay. And this is a Talent's test, and it's just checking for carpal tunnel. Right. So I'm going to take my index finger and I'm just going to tap on the medium nerve of your hand. And if you are you having any symptoms, any pain, tenderness? Okay, any pain or tenderness would be an indication of carpal tunnel. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. No pain, no tenderness. Okay. So the next test I'm going to do is called the Talent's test. also assessing for carpal tunnel.
Okay.
So I'm going to have you place your hand in a downward up prayer position. And I'm going to have you hold this position. Your wrists are close together. I'm looking to see how you can hold for at least 30 seconds. Not able to do so, that would be an indication that you would have carpal tunnel syndrome. Again, are you having any discomfort, any pain holding that position? Okay, you can go ahead and release your hand. Now we're going to move on to the elbow. Again, I'm looking for any nodules, any swelling, any redness, any tenderness, any obvious trauma to the area. I'm also looking for symmetry, making sure that they're the same on both sides. Now I'm going to go ahead and palpate the area. The acromion is this bone right here. So this is a common place for bursitis, any pain or tenderness. I'm also going to feel in between the groove right here on the lateral and medial part of the acromion process, any pain or tenderness. I'm going to do the same on the other side again, checking for any pain or tenderness, any swelling, and any obvious trauma. Okay, for the elbow, there's a couple of range of motion exercise that we're going to do, Mr. Manner. So I'm going to have you extend out and then flex up with the elbow. I'm also going to have you outstretch your arms this way and then pronation and supinate. Pronate and supinate. Very good. And what I'm looking for is equal movement on both sides, making sure that you having no difficulties performing those movements. Next, we're going to move on up to the shoulder. And the shoulder, we're going to assess. I'm looking for symmetry. I'm looking to make sure that they're equal. If they're equal on both sides, and I'm looking to make sure you have no nodules, no redness, no obvious trauma, no deformity of the areas. So next, I'm going to go ahead and palpate the area, Mr. Manner.
Okay.
So this is the
Oh.
clavicular joint. So I'm palpating all the way over here to this is the acromion scapular joint. So I'm palpating all the way over here, and this is the cord process right here. And so if I go medial, this is the greater joint is the greater right, and then down here in the groove is the bicep. Okay? Any pain or tenderness here?
No, no tenderness.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the opposite side.
Okay.
The again, this is the acromion clavicular joint. Okay, and if I palpate all the way, all the way across here, I'm over here at the cord process, and then this is the greater cervical of the humerus. Over here lateral. And then down here is the bicep process. Okay. Next we're gonna do some range of motion on the shoulder.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have you place your hand behind your head right here.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna have you I'm just looking to making sure that you can hold that position position. You having no difficulty holding that position?
No.
So next, I'm going to have you put your hand down. I'm going to have you firmly rotate your arm the blade. Um, you have no problem. You touch that. Was he touch that without any problem? So I'm going to have you stand up for me. Now we're going to do some more range of motion of the shoulder. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have you extend your arm up to 180 degree up here. And then I'm going to have you flex down, backwards, to 80 degrees, 60. And then down again. Do the same on the other side for me. Up. I'm going to have you do some abduction and adduction of the joints. So I'm going to have you abduct out and then bring it back to the body. Add to the body. And again, take away from the body. Ab. And then down. What I'm looking for is symmetry. I'm looking at the movement, making sure that you're able to perform the movements without any problem. I want to do go ahead and do a special test also. Mr. Manna, you can have a seat. It's called the Hawkins test. And this is where I check the shoulder for any pain or tenderness, or this is a good test to use for any rotator cuff tear. Okay. So what I'm going to do is stabilize the elbow with this hand, and then I'll take this one and hold the wrist, bring this up, and then I'm going to rotate it outwards, and then internally. Okay. Again, internally, and then outwards this way. Okay. I'm going to do the same on the other side. And bring it up. So if you have any problem with your shoulder, then and you wouldn't be able to perform that test, that would be an indication of injury to the area. So next, we're going to move on to the head, the neck, and the spine. Okay. So first, we're going to do the neck. So I'm looking at the neck for symmetry. I'm looking at the neck also for any trauma, any deformity, any swelling or obvious trauma to the area. Okay. And then next, I'm going to go ahead and palpate. And what I'm feeling for is any nodules, any pain, any tenderness in the area, any masses. So we're going to go on and do some range of motion to the neck. Okay. We're going to go ahead and do lateral rotation. Left, right. And then we're going to do flex down, chin touching, and then extend up. I'm also going to have you touch your shoulder with your ear. And then next on the other side. I'm going to go ahead and check your TMJ. Okay. Have you open your mouth and close it again. Okay. And do it again for me. And close. So next I'm going to do the vertex compression, which is just pressing down on your head. And then I'm just checking, this will check the nerve to see if you have any problem when I press down on your head.
No problem.
Okay.
No pain.
All right, so I'm gonna have you stand up for me, Samantha. So I'm checking your spine. So again, I'm looking for symmetry. I'm looking to make sure you have no bulging. I'm looking to make sure you have no obvious trauma, and no nodules, no deformity to the spine.
All right.
Okay. Now I'm going to palpate. I'm going to start on C7, which is the most obvious curved spine vertebrae. Okay. I'm starting up here at C7. I'm just going to palpate down. Just feeling, making sure that you're having no pain or tenderness. So what I'm going to do too also is just palpate in between each vertebrae, making sure that you're having no pain or no tenderness. Okay, so when I looked at the spine, I'm looking at the curvature of the spine, looking to make sure there's no abnormal shaping, kyphosis, or any other disorder going on with the spine or the back. So it should be a concave, convex kind of shape, which is coming out here and then going in and then down to this way. Okay? So we're going to do some range of motion of the spine. It's the manner if you turn this way for me. So you're going to flex and extend and flex and you go down and come back up. Okay? Any pain, any problem?
No problem.
And
No pain.
okay. All right, you can have a seat. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to move on to the hip. Okay? So I'm going to have you lay down for me. So on the hip, we're going to go ahead and do some extension
Okay.
of the hip. So I'm going to do some past, what I'm looking for symmetry. I'm making sure that it's the same on both sides. I'm looking to make sure that there's no obvious nodules or deformities or the alignment looks pretty good. Okay. So next I'm going to go ahead and do some active flexion of the hip.
Okay.
So I'm going to bring the hip up this way and then I'm going to extend down this way. Okay. I'm going to do the same on this side. And then I'm going to come down this way. So I'm going to do adduct of the hip. Okay.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do adduct this way. Okay. All right, Savannah. So I'm going to do the same. I will do the same on this side. Add abduct of the hip 60 degree, and then I'm going to do it 30 degrees this way. Okay, and then I'll have you do it for me. You know, the same movement. There's a couple of specialty tests that we can do for the hip, and the Thomas test is to detect contracture. So what I'm going to have you do is bring the knee up, and then hold it to your chest. Hold it with your hand, just a minute. Okay, and then down, and then bring that up, and then down. So I'm going to have you do some extension and then flexion of the hip all the way up. Okay, and then down, and then do the same on the other one. And then that's just doing flexion and extension of the hip. Okay. So the next test I'm going to do is of the hip is well that's it for the hip. So we'll move on to the knee. Okay. I'm gonna have you go ahead and sit up for me, Savannah. So for the knee, we're looking at health inspection of the knee, and what I'm looking for is making sure you have no swelling, no obvious trauma, no bulging, and no nodules. Okay, because it's covered over and it's obvious I can see his patella and he has no swelling. I'm gonna say he has no nodule or anything going on with the knee. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is just kind of feel the patella, okay, and hold on to make sure that it's in place and it is. So what I'm going to do is do some range of motion of the knee. So I'm going to hold the knee this way, and then I'm going to hold the ankle, and I'm just going to bring it down. And then I'm going to do this again, this way. So again, for the knee, hold on. I'm going to do what we call the drawer test. I'm going to have you lay back down on the couch for me, Mr. Manor. Bend your knees. This is the drawer test. Sit on your knee, on your foot, and what I'm doing is pulling on the knee and I'm pushing back on the knee. Again, I'm doing this and pushing back. So if I was doing that and you had some trauma to the knee, it would be obvious some tenderness to the area of me pulling and pushing back on it. Okay? So next we're gonna go to the foot, the feet. Come on, sit up for me. And again, inspection, looking for nodules, looking for any swelling, looking for any deformities, looking for the shape of the foot to make sure you're not got a deformity, like say flat-footed or very pronounced arch or anything like that. They're symmetrical. Okay. I'm also looking at the toes, making sure that they are, they don't have any nodules or they don't have any deformities, and there's no obvious trauma to your toes. Next, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to palpate your toes, okay? Just feeling from distal, from the distal to proximal on the joints and on the joints to make sure that there's no pain or tenderness. Doing the same thing on this side and make sure there's no pain or tenderness. I'm going to ask you to go ahead and spread your toes to me out. And so those are adduct and abduction. Bring them together. I'm going to have you flex your toes and extend. Again, flex your toes and extend. Okay, so if you hold up your foot, bend your knee for me. We're going to do the ankles. So what I'm going to do is have you, I'm looking for symmetry, making sure the ankle doesn't have any nodule, any obvious trauma, any deformities, or any atrophy to the area. Okay. Next, I'm going to palpate. I'm going to palpate. I'm going to feel on the Achilles, making sure that you have no pain or no tenderness. Okay. Then I'm going to ask you to flex and then extend the ankle. Then I'm going to ask you to do internal rotation and then outward. Okay. I'm going to have you do the same thing on the other side. Flex and extend and then internal and out. So that will conclude our skeletal examination. Thank you, Mr. Manor, for